It's called Climate an Existential Crisis this morning as it signs a significant pact with the US to share technologies and pledges. There's no shift on specific targets, but the agreement is and could be significant. What's your thoughts on that agreement and those comments from China overnight? I mean, they're talking the talk, do they walk the walk?
We'll wait and see, but I certainly welcome those sentiments, and it's great to hear that the US and China are talking about how they can both reduce their emissions. The fact of the matter is Australia consumes about 1% of the world's energy, and we emit about 1.2% of the world's carbon. The US and China consume more than 40% of the world's energy and emit more than 40% of the world's carbon. So they are big emitters, and if we're going to see any change on climate change, we need China and the US to work together. So I welcome any further bilateral cooperation between those two countries.
Does this put more pressure on Australia to make new commitments for 2030, which is a request that's come from the COP overnight?
Look, I think we're well on track to hit our 2030 targets, indeed go well beyond the 26 to 28% on our 2005 levels. We're trending towards 35% reduction on our emissions. We've hit our 2020 targets, and we've always got to do things in our national interest as well. We are a productive economy. We produce the highest amount of LNG and coal exports, which underpin our prosperity. Where we've had a massive uptake of solar, and we are leading other nations like the USA, Japan, even New Zealand in cutting our emissions. So we're doing very well as it stands.
Right. So you don't believe that there needs to be an even more ambitious commitment for 2030?
I think we're doing a great job as it is. And in the end, just to bring you back to where I live right here in the seat of Keating, we produce 8% of the world's alumina, the single largest source of alumina in the world. And we have a lot of industry here. I've got a lot of jobs here. It's an emissions-intensive industry. We're already committing new technology, new grants to Alcoa to help reduce our emissions. And they're the sorts of things we want to be doing, investing heavily in technology to make sure that we are a clean producer of some of these resources that the rest of the world absolutely needs.
Okay. Andrew, Paul Keating had the loudspeaker on yesterday at the National Press Club. He claims that Australia has lost its way on China. He also said that Taiwan is not a vital interest for us. Just your general reaction to some of his comments yesterday?
I think since Paul Keating lost office to John Howard, he's lost his way. And I think he's stumbling in the dark. It was a fairly bombastic speech, which did two things. Number one, it ignored the realities of the Indo-Pacific region. The Prime Minister last year gave a speech at ADFA, the Defence Strategic Update, which outlined some of the challenges ahead, great power competition, and of course the world post-pandemic will be more dangerous, more disorderly and poorer. And the second thing he did was undermine some of our key relationships, first through AUKUS, having a crack at the UK and the US, and then of course the Quad turning his guns on Japan and India. So it was contrary to the national interest. It was odds with what we've, acknowledged across the parliament is our situation, both with Labor and the coalition. And he just enjoys a headline. I think that's the reality.
So when it comes to Taiwan, for our viewers this morning, why do you believe it is of vital interest to us?
Well, if people don't care about 25 million, a country of 25 million people, which is democratic, why would they care about our country, which is a little more, 26 million people, and democratic in the Indo-Pacific region? We work together. We're a neighbour, and we care about other countries, particularly liberal democracies who we have close relationships with. Taiwan is such a country, and we'd love to see them upheld.
Yeah, and not to mention the $16 billion trading relationship we have with Taiwan at the moment. But just a closing thought too on this. If the US does go in, your thoughts on this, Andrew, do we then go in too?
It's a hypothetical, Pete, and all those sorts of decisions are best left to the NSC.
Okay. Andrew Hastie, good to have you with us this morning. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon.